Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the Ology podcast. I'm Liv, you know that, and this is my friend Kim.
Hi!
She's joining today. She's wonderful, and you're going to find out why, because she brought up a topic that I think we need to discuss. What are we talking about?
So we are going to talk about the difference between self-care and self-love.
Because there's a huge difference, and they just get lumped into the same category all the time. Yeah. So which one do you want to talk about first? What does it mean to you?
I feel like we should talk about the difference and then break them down.
All right, so what's the difference?
Okay, so to me, you think about when you care for something, you're caring for a garden. You're pruning it and you're making it look pretty. So that's kind of what, to me, self-care is. It's stuff to make you feel good. So that bubble bath that you love to take, or that retail therapy. And then self-love is loving yourself for who you are, knowing that you have worth, dealing with your problems.
Dealing with your problems. Love yourself enough to deal with your bullshit is what it comes down to. See, I agree with that. I'm also going to tangent off of self-care because this is a thing that bothers me so much. Self-care is often talked about as only retail therapy and bubble baths, and it's so much more than that. Yeah. It's holding yourself accountable and paying your bills on time and doing all of those responsible, functional adult things that we forget we have to do. And it's, self-love. I'm going to go, or not self-love, damn it. Self-care. I'm going to go and spend $300 in the mall today. Well, that didn't benefit you at all. If you make a budget. Guys, budgets are hard. Do you budget?
I try to.
Oh, man.
Try to.
I just made a budget. It's a pain. Yeah. I'm trying to learn from Amanda how to do a budget, but she hasn't been very helpful in all the tips and tricks yet. So we're going to get there. I'm learning.
It's an adjustment, and it's hard to break the habits that you formed for yourself.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Really, though?
Yeah, because when I started trying to budget, it was hard to break the habits because my friends didn't have a budget. So they would go out and spend all their money, and I'm like, I have $5.
I have more than that, but I have $5 that I'm willing to spend on whatever we do tonight. Yeah. So I'm drawing the line there. And you have to do that because that, to me, is a huge part of self-care and self-love. Yeah. Is when you set those guidelines or boundaries with yourself. Yeah. Then all of a sudden you've decided, I love myself enough to say what's going to benefit me in the long run. Yeah. And then you're also budgeting for how can you care for yourself. Yeah. So now, which one do you want to dive into first, love or care?
Let's go for care.
Self-care.
Self-care.
All right. So we
feel like that's where we're at. So
yeah, that's kind of where we tangented. Well, we didn't even tangent, but where we veered.
It's fine.
Whatever we did. Okay. So self-care. You said what self-care is to you. What else is it?
I guess I think about anything that immediately makes you feel good. So for me, it's a lot of little things. I'm going to buy myself those flowers because they're pretty and I will smile when I look at them. Or I don't know, just spending time with people that make me happy, because when I'm caring for myself, it's easier to love myself.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And I think another part of self-care is, like you said, the bubble baths, and also just making sure that you give yourself time and giving yourself grace. Yeah. Because a lot of times we get so hard on ourselves for, I didn't do this or I didn't do this. Yeah. Or if you're like me, which maybe you are, you make a to-do list for every day. Yeah. I want to get through this, this, and this. And then if you, guys, maybe you know this by now, I have ADD like a motherfucker. I really do. And I can set one task and then all of a sudden detour off of that to 6 other things. Yeah. And if I don't get everything else done that I wanted, I'll get mad at myself. Yeah. And I think part of that self-care is remembering that, you got a lot done. And maybe at the end of the day, sitting back and going, okay, I did this. I need to give myself that grace because look at what I did do today. Yeah. And then, at the end of the day, eat the chocolate, have the wine, do the things.
And on that, I do that too. I generally do a to-do list for the week, but then I get to the end, I'm like, wow, look at all these things that I didn't do. And I, in a sense, punish myself almost sometimes. Yeah. Where it's okay, well, Saturday was going to be my day off, and now I have to do all these other things. When really, I need that day for self-care to recharge.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And then, like you said, you need a day for self-care. Yeah. You need that day to do whatever you want. Yeah. I actually just got from Kat. You've met Kat. Yeah. My friend Kat. She got me for Christmas a journal that's called Let That Shit Go.
Yes.
It's so great. And the page that I'm on right now says schedule 3 days over the next 3 months to take for yourself and write down what you're going to do. And my very first one is coming up next Friday, where I'm getting a massage, and then I'm going to go get my nails done. I'm going to get my favorite place to eat and just do all of those things, not because there's not a million and one things that I still have to do.
Yeah.
The to-do list is ever growing, but because I need that balance in order to function like a human. And you can't, I tried this back last summer. I tried to run myself ragged and work until 12, 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And because there was always something that I needed to do, and I just didn't take time off. If I was over at a friend's house, I was on my laptop working while we were watching TV or whatever it was. And then I crashed.
Yeah.
And I hit this week period where I couldn't get myself out of bed. I couldn't do anything. And it was just because I had been running on 4 or 5 hours of sleep, working 12, 14 hours out of the day and not balancing it out. So when you get to that point, you have to take a step back and realize, you know what, you're allowed to take those days off to care for yourself. And hugely a part of that, to care for your mental health.
Yes.
Like there are, what's the word? I can't remember the word. Allotments? Allocations? Sure. No, compartments.
Okay.
That's what I'm going for. There are compartments to self-care.
Yeah.
And one of those is your mental health.
Oh, yeah.
So doing whatever is going to be good for your mental health.
Yeah.
And then I think physical health is a part of it. Don't just sit on the couch and binge Netflix for 10 hours every day.
Right.
You'll feel like crap at the end of it. What else? What do you think might be?
For me, and like going off of your 3 days things, like sure, if you try to plan like 3 days in a week, like that's super overwhelming for me to think about, because like I don't have 3 days in a week that I can just give up.
Absolutely.
But if you think about like over time, like giving a day here and there is not that big of a deal. Because if you're not allowing yourself to have a moment of peace and a break to like slow down, you're going to get burnout. And when you're burnt out, it's really hard to live your life.
Yeah, it is.
So if you're not living your life, like right there, you're already not, like there's no self-love involved. And it can be super easy things like try a new recipe, bake something good.
fun.
That's my favorite. Is finding a random thing off Pinterest to bake.
I want to try that.
I started making bread. I was one of those.
You make bread?
I was a pandemic breader.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
And now I wish I would have been a pandemic breader.
It was a TikTok thing. But
oh, that's why. I didn't have TikTok.
Yeah. It was a huge thing. But yeah, and I mean like those little things, it was so easy to not love life in that span of terrible time. But doing those little things, I was like, oh my gosh, I get to make bread tomorrow. Like,
yeah,
it's just that little thing.
You couldn't be going out doing the things you were used to.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you couldn't find a good thing to say, you know, I'm stuck in my house. How can I make the best out of this? What can I do? Instead of like what a lot of people did. And I know this was a joke last year, but you're either going to come out of this pandemic really in shape or really out of shape.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get it though, because there were a lot of people who, oh, well, I can't go anywhere, so I'm just going to sit at home.
Yeah.
And you fall into this funk. And by not allowing yourself to hit that funk, you get to be, I've always wanted to do this. I want to be a pandemic breader. You get to be what you never knew you always wanted, and you try the new things.
Yeah.
And on a sidebar, what breads did you make?
Pretty much, I don't really know what the names of them were. I kind of just went for it. A lot of like French crusty breads that get like hard on the outside, you know, like good dipping bread. I'll make you some bread.
I want some bread. That sounds wonderful. Yeah. See, I thought it was going to be like banana nut bread. And
oh, no. We're like hardcore bread here.
No.
We let it prove. I'm following Mary Berry from Great British Baking Show. She's my favorite.
I really want to go watch all of these now.
But yeah, and then I would make like garlic oil. But it was something that I loved. And then because I loved doing it, I was making something good for my body.
I also really like how you said it's something that you love.
Yeah.
When self-care is specific to each person.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't, I feel like a lot of times, I know I'm guilty of this, and I'm guessing there are other people who are too. You want people to do better.
Yeah.
So you tell them, well, this is what worked for me. And you don't really take the time to say what's going to work for you.
Yeah.
What do you need? And you have to be really familiar with yourself and understand your likes and your dislikes and what you've been through to who you are now.
Yeah.
To say what really is beneficial for you. And I think I'm just going to use that to segue into self-love, because then you have to love yourself and love all of those parts of you in order to be able to care for yourself properly.
Yeah.
So on the self-love aspect, how the hell do you love yourself?
Honestly, this sounds really dumb, but my self-love journey started with my tattoos, because for me, self-love is very like visual, like how I present myself.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
My tattoos started, and I was like, okay, I'm going to tattoo this part of my body that I don't like.
What was your first
then
tattoo?
I have something that I love. Okay, my first one was my foot, but a
Ow!
heavily tattooed journey. But it was my inner thigh, because I didn't like my thighs. So I put something pretty on my thigh, and then I said, I love it.
I love that.
But I mean, and it
so
comes
sweet.
down to, like, I feel like self-love has to start with little things.
It really
like,
does.
you are not just going to wake up and decide that you have all this
don't.
love for yourself
You
on
definitely
Tuesday
don't.
morning. Like,
It'd be nice if it did work that way, though. And I mean, self-love is a hard topic for me, because I tell people this all the time. I love myself now.
Yeah.
It's taken me a really long time to love
Same.
myself. And I think that everybody who goes on this adventure will struggle with the same thing. We want it to happen instantaneously.
Yeah.
And you have to fall in love with these little parts of yourself. And I think one thing that blocks us from doing that, and I'm definitely dancing around what is self-love, because I don't even know. I don't know how to describe it. But I know that one thing that hinders us is we have this idea in our head, whether it's from ourselves or from our families, from our friends, just from the media in general, of what should we love.
yeah.
And then we look at ourselves and we pick apart, well, you've done this, or you've said this, or you went through this, and we look at ourselves as broken and unlovable. And personally, I think that makes us more lovable, because I'd rather love a real thing than a fake thing.
Yeah.
And I think self-love can maybe be also summed up as self-acceptance.
Yes, I would agree with that. And it's off of that, like, there are things that you are going to accept about yourself that other people won't accept about yourself, but that doesn't mean that you can't still love those things.
Yeah. And it goes back to what Amanda and I have said countless times on here, is we are not for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if we were for everybody, the whole entire world would be best friends.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. It'd be nice if it was the case. I mean, right? I would like to see more people get along.
Oh, same.
But everybody's not for everybody.
Yeah.
So if somebody doesn't like this aspect of you, that's okay.
Yeah.
As long as, I mean, maybe you don't even like it.
Yeah.
In order to love yourself, do you have to like everything about yourself? What do you think?
I don't think so, because there's never going to be a point in your life where you don't have something to grow on. And I feel like if you find something that you don't love, like, that is a spot that you know you can grow in.
Yeah. I think that's pretty solid. And on top of the growth, I think another facet of self-love is loving yourself through the growth.
Yeah.
A lot of times we get stuck in this mindset of, not just in ourselves, but in life, this is how we've always been. This is how we've always done things. And when you get around people who, how do I want to say this? If you get around people who are very stuck in that mindset as to you've changed or you've done X, Y, and Z, it rubs off on you.
Yeah.
Because I'm a firm believer that you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
And if you can look at those 5 people you're around and they're not people who push you to be better and say, well, try this instead of this. If they're people who allow you to be the same and never grow, then the second you do try to love yourself or grow yourself or say, hey, I don't like this aspect of me, or I don't like how I don't know, sleep until noon every day. I don't like when I do that.
Yeah.
So that's something that I always want to work on. And if you have somebody in your ear who's like, oh, why? It's not the worst thing. You can still get up at this time and blah, blah, blah. If they're not somebody who's pushing you to be better, then they're not going to love when you change.
Yeah.
And the people who love when you change are who you need to surround yourself with, because then you're going to feel more at peace, I think, loving yourself. You're not going to feel like you're proving something to anyone.
Yeah.
Or maybe this is bad to say, but outgrowing someone.
Yeah.
And that, I think, hinders our self-love a lot.
Oh, yeah.
When, I don't want to lose this person. You don't have to want to lose them. But how many of us are really best friends with all the people we were best friends with growing up?
Yeah.
You change. You meet new people. And these different versions of yourself require different levels of love and different people to show you maybe who you want to be, who you don't want to be. And I feel like I'm getting on a tangent and I'm just rambling. So what else do you have to say?
I also feel like self-love comes from the people around you. Like, if you are around people who genuinely love you and genuinely want you to grow and to change, it's easier to love yourself because you feel it. And you, real people vibes all the time. If you have those real people vibes, it's easier to be in a logical space where you understand that you are going to have a lot of different feelings about yourself, but regardless of them, it's still okay to love yourself.
Yeah. And it's okay to love your broken parts. It's okay because you've got that support system.
Yeah.
And the support system is really, I think, a necessary aspect of it because those are also going to be the people, I think, who want you to love yourself and then also want you to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
So they're going to, in addition to you yourself should, I don't think I said this already, so tell me if I did, but I think self-love and self-care kind of interconnect in where you call yourself on your bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have to love yourself enough to say, this is a cop-out or this is X, Y, and Z. But then you have to care for yourself enough to say, you know what, I'm right or they're right.
Yeah.
And this is a cop-out and I am doing this. Because when you get people who allow yourself to sit in your pity, they're not pushing you to take care of yourself. Yeah. They are not pushing you to really be accountable for how you take care of yourself or becoming that better human and loving yourself.
Yeah.
So, you know, okay, you're not at your best right now. That's okay. But now take a baby step in the direction you need to go.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like, too, intertwining love and care. Yes, it's one thing to love yourself and understand that you have things to work on. But if you don't care about your life enough to work on those things, then, why? What are you doing?
Just why? Why are you doing this? No, I agree. Absolutely. How does one start to actually love themselves?
I mean, again, I feel like that's going to be different for everybody. For me, it was deciding that I was tired of just going through the motions. So it was okay, what I hardcore journaled at this point in my life. So it was a list of, okay, these are the things that I like. These are the things that I don't like. These are the people that I do and don't like. Because people in your life are going to play the biggest part in this journey for you. If you are around people who are just fine with going to work and coming home and not doing anything, that's how your life is going to be. But if you surround yourself with people who want to go out and want to have fun and love their lives, you're going to fall in love with your life too. So for me, it was cutting out toxic people who
Reach.
And I feel like that's not to say that they weren't unhealthy or anything like that. But just because somebody is healthy to their life doesn't mean they're healthy to my life.
Absolutely. Toxicity doesn't have to mean somebody's a terrible person. Yeah. It can just mean you're not on the same wavelength.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so it was, okay, what actions make me happy? So it was photography. It was tattoos. It was graphic design, computer, artsy stuff. So that's what I did.
I need to pause. I wish I had your pain tolerance for tattoos because I love your tattoos and I would cry. All of mine are baby tattoos.
I have 42.
Oh my God.
Will you guys go with me when I get my first tattoo?
Oh my God,
yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get a tattoo?
Yeah. I told you about
I love this.
You
I
did?
love when people get tattoos.
I forgot.
Wait, I just got a little carried away. The computer's just telling me to shut up.
Well, we need you in this. You're a part of this too. So computer, no, let Amanda stay. But anyway, on that, and then I'm just gonna throw mine out there because tattoos and doing what you like. I think for me, one major aspect is, like you said, being around people that make you want to feel that way, and not even make you want to feel that way, because everybody wants to love their life, right? You don't want to be a miserable cow every day. We need that sign. We need that sign just forever behind us. You don't want to be that. You want to be happy. You want to love life. Speaking personally, I don't want to be an angry person. No. I don't want to hold grudges and resentment, anything like that. So I want to surround myself with people who are the sunshine people and who want to love their lives and are pushing me to say, yeah, you know what, if this is, hate this phrase, your best life, if this is your most authentic life, then go after that. I support you. And then maybe it's cheesy, like create a vision board of who you want to be. Yeah. It's deciding who you want to be. You never just wake up one day. Like you said, you're not going to wake up on a random Tuesday and say, oh, I love myself today. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. You have to decide what type of human you want to be. Yeah. So for me, I hate fast food. Yeah. I despise it. I used to go through Wendy's or Mickey D's, anything, all the time because it was easy. I didn't pack a lunch, and I felt like crap. Mm-hmm. Well, now, if and when I ever eat fast food, it's few and far between. Usually it's when I have a child with me. Yeah. And it's any variety of, you know what's the healthiest thing on the menu? Yeah. Or do I even want something? Can I just feed the kid? Yeah. Because for me, my most authentic life, my best self, my version of me that's in love with my life doesn't eat processed shit. Yeah. For meals, unless it's pizza rolls. Pizza rolls are the exception to every single rule. I was about to say, I was like, we were just talking about pizza rolls, but pizza rolls are the exception. But I try for that because I want to be healthy. I feel better when I know what I'm eating, when I'm cooking it myself. So that's one of those things, is just deciding this is who I want to be. Yeah. And going after it. And that, again, doesn't happen overnight. We live in a society, correct me if I'm wrong, of instant gratification. Oh, yeah. And we want everything right now because we have everything on our phones. Yeah. There is no research involved in anything. There's no mailing the DVD back to Netflix and waiting 3 days for it to arrive to your doorstep. That doesn't I mean, it does still happen anymore, but it's not the norm. Yeah. So we have everything as soon as we want it, and we get impatient with the process. Yeah. But happiness is the journey, not the destination. Oh, yeah. You have to love the process. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, you're just a part of the process. Yeah. If that makes any sense. Maybe that just confused everyone out there. And
I mean, I got you. Yes. And I feel like when I was trying to, like, decide who I wanted to be, I told myself that I wanted to be annoyingly happy. Yeah. Which then came with, like...
I've heard somebody described as naturally carbonated.
I love that.
Like, that's who I want to be. I want to be naturally carbonated. Yeah. Like, you're just an effervescent queen.
Let's all just be naturally carbonated.
Yeah, deal.
You're already caffeinated, Kim.
Correct.
So we're all going to be carbonated
I'm a spaz.
now. It's okay.
But no, I love being a spaz. Like, in the... Like, a lot of people are like, ew, why would you want to be a spaz? And I'm like, because I can walk into a room and say hi and instantly be friends with any person in that room.
And that's something to be applauded and admired and, like, saluted. It's spectacular.
But, like, once I decided that I wanted to be annoyingly happy, like, this sounds so weird, but I made a color palette for my life. Like, I wear yellow all the time because it's like
you did. Didn't you wear this for your birthday?
I did.
It was this cardigan.
Yes, it was. Which is also named after me, and I love that. And I keep telling everyone every time I wear it.
Goals.
But yeah, like, and so then like people see me and they see yellow and go happy. So it's like I don't even have to talk to you, and my yellowness wore off on you. Like
it's like your aura.
Yeah.
It's the brand. It's your vibe that you put out into the world. And when you put that out, I think it's easier to love yourself because you love the person you're creating.
Yes.
If you are angry with yourself every day, if you're hard on yourself, whatever it is, it's going to be harder to love yourself because you're finding all your flaws.
Yeah.
Everybody's got flaws.
Yeah.
I'm loud. I've been told apparently I'm talking too softly on this, but I'm loud. Everybody tells me I'm loud. Yeah. And I'm okay with that. Yeah. I like being loud. I'm a product of a very loud family where you had to yell to be heard, and I'm just going to carry that with me for forever. So while somebody's going to look at it and say, oh, I hate that. Okay. cool. But I know why I'm like that.
Yeah.
I know exactly what got me to be there. And I'm pretty happy with myself now.
Yeah.
So I want to make other people realize that, hey, no matter what your life has looked like up until this point, do you like who you are right now?
Yeah.
Then be grateful for your life, because
Yeah.
you wouldn't be this person without it.
Oh,
And
hands down.
instead of cursing everything that you've been through or saying, I should have done this, I should have never done that. Well, you did. We
Yeah.
can't time travel. That we know of. Maybe the Simpsons have figured it out and they're not sharing the secret. But for the general public, we
Yeah.
cannot time travel.
Yeah.
So accept your choices for what they are and make the best of the situation.
Yeah.
And start loving where you came from.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the secret to self-love, is loving where you came from to love where you go.
Yeah. And I love what you said, how people will be like, you're too loud. And you're like, okay, I love that about me. Like being able to understand that there are going to be things about you that you love that other people don't love. And that's fine. They don't have to. You don't love everything about them. That doesn't mean you have to love yourself less.
We want to people please a lot. Maybe that's just me.
No, same.
But there's so many people out there. I want everybody to like me.
Yeah.
If everybody likes you, you're not doing something right.
Yeah.
You're not making waves. You're not out there trying to be your most authentic self, to change the world, to run the boutique, to make a difference, an impact, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. If you have everybody out there loving you, you haven't done something right.
Yeah.
If you're giving yourself, if you're giving everybody a piece of yourself, then what's left for you to love?
Yeah.
Right?
And you can't give yourself away to people, even if you want to,
Yeah.
because in the end, you end up resenting those people.
Yeah.
I don't want to resent people.
No.
I don't want to harbor grudges. I don't want to say, oh, well, you made me mad, so I'm meh. Like, it's not worth the brain power.
Yeah.
Because then these people are taking up space in your head. And let's go back to, how can you care for yourself if you're letting everybody else into your safe space?
Yeah.
It's like when somebody comes knocking at your door for, hey, I want to sell you this. You don't let every stranger into your house.
Yeah.
So why do you let them in here?
Yeah.
You can't care for yourself properly if you're like, oh my gosh, this person said this and this person feels this way and this person feels this. No, you're going to be this insecure little 5-year-old, and that's so sad.
Yeah. And you're just stuck in that bubble until you decide to pop the bubble. And I think something else that's important to think about is, there's that old cheesy saying that's like, pour out of your cup into somebody else's cup. And you have to very cautiously decide what cups you're going to pour into, but you have to decide what you're pouring, because that comes from your heart. Like if you
Yeah, it does.
are angry, you're pouring anger on other people. If you have happiness and love in there, you're going to pour that onto other people.
But going back to self-care, you also have to make sure that there's enough in
Oh,
your cup.
yeah.
Yeah.
Pour.
I thought that was that phrase.
Yeah.
Was you can't pour from an empty cup.
That's what.
That's it. You have to make sure you yourself are full.
Yeah.
You can try. Can we look at Robin Williams for a second?
Yes.
He's been dead 6.5 years. 6.5 years. Okay, I'm so sad about this. I
Yeah.
love Robin
Oh,
Williams.
same.
And he was one of those people who he died by suicide.
Yeah.
He didn't talk about it to people, not that it was public knowledge. And one day he's just gone because he spent all of his time pouring from an empty cup.
Yeah.
He wanted to make an impact on this world, which he did. He wanted to make other people laugh. He wanted to make other people feel better. And then he went home at the end of the day. And
had
how did he
nothing.
feel?
Yeah.
If you're at a point that you're committing suicide, you don't feel that great when you're going home.
Yeah.
And that breaks my heart, because if he would have recognized, hey, maybe he did love himself. I'd like to think he did.
Yeah.
I'd be hopeful. But maybe he just didn't care for himself enough. Maybe he spent too much time worrying about other people.
Yeah.
And I know that growing up, we're taught, you need to share with people and put somebody else first and do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But it's not selfish to put yourself first,
No.
even though we're taught to believe that it is. It's not. You have to put yourself first in order to be healthy.
Yeah.
It's like if you have kids, and Amanda, correct me if I'm wrong, when you have kids, you cannot be the best parent you can be if you're not taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
If you're running ragged and not doing the things that you need to do to feel good, your kids pick up on that.
Yeah.
But if you are taking the time to take the bubble baths and spend time away from them, then all of a sudden you come back refreshed and you say, okay, I'm really happy right now. I can be happy with my kids, or not even just kids, with your friends, with your family, with your significant other. You can have all of that if you take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid that there might be people who will clap back and say, oh, well, you don't have kids, so you don't get to comment on it. But that's right. You're right.
I'm guessing we're paused right now.
No,
oh, we're not?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, I got 2 kids, and that is absolutely 100% right. So
I say I don't have kids. I've been a step parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, even like
valid.
my nieces are a huge part of my life, and like the days that I'm frustrated and angry about something, and then I am hanging out with them, like they're needy. And when I'm already frustrated and they like want my attention, it's hard to be able to give it to them. And I don't ever want them to feel like I don't have love to give them. Mm-hmm. But sometimes that means like, hey, I know like you wanted to see me tonight, but I need me time. Like,
yeah, it's not in the cards tonight.
Yeah.
I still love you, but we're going to reschedule for this day.
Yes.
So that when you are around people, you're genuinely there.
Yeah.
And
I feel like
hard.
that's a boundary that's really important to say. Like, somebody texts you, hey, I need advice right now. Like, I love you. I will be there for you in a little bit, but right now I'm not in the headspace to properly love you. And that's loving yourself and protecting the people that you love.
And I just love that you bring up the boundaries aspect of that, because that is a huge part of self-care.
Oh, yeah.
Is setting boundaries with people. If you're overextending and you are giving pieces of yourself away, whether it be to your nieces or your kids or your parents or your friends or your job, whatever it is, you have to set boundaries and make people know you're not accessible every hour of the day. You are not, how do I want to say this? You're not being selfish. You're not caring about them any less.
Yeah.
You're caring about them more by saying, I value this relationship so much that I have to draw this line right now.
Yeah.
I am here for you and I will be here for you.
Yeah.
At a later time, at a later date, whenever it is.
Yeah.
And my best friend and I do that all the time, where I'll call her and she's not able to talk. And she says, now isn't a good time. Let's reschedule.
Yeah.
Okay, done. I know that she knows I was trying to get a hold of her, or vice versa. And we know that we will make it happen.
Yeah.
But we know that we're living lives. We have other commitments. We have other things to take care of.
Yeah.
And our priority is not, at least specifically for me, being on my phone all day.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do it. I'm on my phone enough as is for different projects and work and what have you, that I don't want to be on it unnecessarily at the drop of a hat for somebody just say, hey, how are you? I'm sorry, my mental health declines this conversation right now. Can we please reschedule for 24 hours?
Yeah.
And it can be as simple as that. But man, that mental self-care is hard, because a lot of people don't understand that that's what it is. And I feel like it can come from a place of hurt or being misunderstood, that, oh man, you know, this person just doesn't want to talk to me, or they're being a bitch right now.
Yeah.
No, that's not the case.
Yeah. We keep saying like piece of yourself, which makes me obviously think about cake. But you think about like, okay.
Can we go get cheesecake?
Duh.
Yes.
But you think about, okay, let's say it's your birthday party. You're dishing out cake to everybody, and then it comes to you, and there's no cake left for you. Y'all, I would cry if there was no cake left for me.
But that's my new favorite analogy. My new favorite.
But that's what it's like. Like, if you're dishing out a piece to everybody else and then you got crumbs left, like, you're going to be real sad. And that's how you should see your life. Your life is your birthday party, and you got some delicious cake on that plate.
Yes.
And you want to keep some for you.
And
that's okay. You're not being selfish.
And if you don't, that's on you.
Yeah.
That's a huge, I push this every day on the kids that I work with, on the adults that I'm around, on myself. Like, no matter what, I try and say, that's on you. Or that sounds like a you problem.
Yeah.
Because if you are giving too much of yourself, if you've given away all your cake and all you have left is the frosting in the jar, which, don't get me wrong, is great, because that's a great leftover. But if that's all you have, you have to be the one to stop and say, did I just take care of myself?
Yeah.
And that's a hard bullet to bite, is saying, oh, no, I didn't. And nobody wants to be that honest with themselves, but being honest with yourself
is real good.
Is real good, and maybe possibly the first step. And not to say that we're all going to go through AA, but you have to admit you have a problem.
Yeah.
And that's the first step in almost anything. If you have a problem with loving yourself, if you have a problem with taking care of yourself, admit it. Own it.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do. But I don't know. I think, do you have anything else that you want to add?
Love your dang selves. Take enough time to care for yourself that you can love
Call yourself on your bullshit, guys.
Call
yourself. Love yourself enough to call yourself on it.
And be real with the people around you, because they're going to call you. If you ask somebody who loves you to call you out, they're going to call you out.
As long as they actually love you. So surround yourself with people who love you. And until then, we'll see you next time. Bye.